Set for release tomorrow, June 22nd, by publishers Star Drifters. Danger Scavenger is a roguelike twin-stick shooter that also employs dungeon crawler mechanics, only this time it's considered a skyline crawler, as you're not fighting your way through dingy caves and caverns. This time, you're taking it to the rooftops. Danger Scavenger is set on a cyberpunk backdrop. The story is a familiar one. Machines have taken over control of civilization as we know it, headed by the corrupt AI called Alone. This AI has managed to turn all other machines against their human masters. You're a part of a rebel group known as the Scavengers, a handful of survivors who have decided they're not going to take this technological uprising lying down, and has stepped out from the shadows to take down these evil machine-controlled corporations, one at a time. I would have appreciated learning the story through the actual game though. Some cinematics coupled with even subpar B-movie voice acting would have sufficed, as opposed to learning the story from the press kit. There are no cutscenes really, and no voice acting. Once the game starts up, you're thrown in your HQ where you see a brief news broadcast about the takeover. You choose your scavenger, choose your startup weapon, hop on your motorcycle, and you're off. The visuals are quite good, once you take the time to admire the scenery. Should you only focus on the platforms you currently occupy and your character, then you may not realize this. But should you slow down a bit and check out the city backdrop, it's really easy on the eyes. This is not to say the main visuals are bad, just a bit bland, not void of detail as the levels are well designed. It's just that with the whole cyberpunk dystopian future theme, it's hard to keep it vibrant and bustling with character. The audio works well for what this is, from the music to the various gun blasts, explosions and everything else. But again, some voices would have added to this pot quite nicely. Some of the sound effects are questionable. While some guns sound decent, like the shotgun, some of the other weapons have for lack of a better word, a cartoony sound to them, as well as the sounds we hear when the enemies spawn. But this didn't detract from the experience. I would have preferred a more realistic sound for the gun blasts, but what's here still works. The music is amazing. No, I'm no musical connoisseur, but these tracks were tight. For some reason, I'm not sure what the devs' thought process going into the overall design was, but the music, sound effects, and visuals all complemented each other and helped keep me invested through this relatively tough roguelike experience. For gameplay, we're presented with a choose-your-own-path risk and reward system. While on these rooftops, you can choose where on the roofs you want to go next. You can go battle an elite level, take on snipers over grenades or laser-wielding adversaries and so on. You'll quickly learn that there's no success without a struggle, and you'll begin choosing the more difficult options each time as they yield greater rewards. You're able to use ranged or melee attacks as well, which worked well for me, because ammo can get a bit scarce at times, and you basically use scraps that you scavenge not only to craft gear, but as currency. You may want to use melee attacks, especially on inanimate objects, and save your ammo for when it's needed most. There's a difficulty curve here that may not be for everyone. However, best advice, when choosing your next game, pick your genres wisely. In true roguelike form, there's Permadeath. While working your way up the levels in search of the boss, should you fail, it's back to the beginning. However, there is an upgrading system, so the more you die, the more you play, is the more you'll grow, not only in experience, but in capabilities. And when you finally power through and prevail, it's quite a rewarding feeling. Not to worry though, you aren't sent off to battle half-cocked. You have loads of primary weapons to choose from and unlock as you progress, with an equally wide array of automated companions. These mini backups come in the form of attack drones, spinning blades, shooting buddies. You even have your own special abilities, like this attack that rains down an artillery strike on wherever you send it. There are many perks to choose from, extremely helpful perks. A voodoo mask that allows you to gain health as you deal damage, a perk that makes you stronger for 3 seconds after you roll, a price reduction perk, one that awards you increased accuracy. Pretty much all the perks and weapons, be it ranged or melee, serves a useful purpose and grants you the flexibility to progress using your preferred combat style. The highest point of gameplay in Danger Scavenger is the balance. We go back to set risk and reward mechanic. Once you pay attention, once you don't run in with a pray and spray mindset, once you've come to the realization that strategy goes a far way to achieving success, and an important part of strategy is patience, you'll find yourself climbing through the levels with relative ease. Even the boss battles are balanced. Pay attention to their patterns. Pace yourself. Be on the lookout for much needed dropped items, and you'll be just fine. Just remember, this is a roguelike, so there will be a lot of trial and error. A few things that raised an eyebrow. First, although you can upgrade and become a more efficient scavenger, the permadeath mechanic is brutal. Danger Scavenger does not have an endless campaign, which I like, but in order to complete this campaign, you'd have to do it in one run. No saves, no checkpoints. But lead developer Piotr Walk told me there'll be an option to save after taking out a boss. However, this feature isn't readily available and there isn't a definitive date when this might be. I assure you, completing these 5 towers in one go is no simple feat. Then my last peeve. At the beginning of a run, when you're in the hub, you can choose from the currently available weapon in your arsenal. This may be a modified one. If you continue to use this weapon, it will be available to you again should you restart. But once you pick a new weapon from said arsenal, the previous build will be lost. This is something I could work with, but after beating a boss, I got a new assault rifle, and without trying to choose another weapon, after I restarted, it too was gone. So should the devs decide to make a few patches to refine this mechanic, that'd be great. To wrap this up, I'm going to have to say Danger Scavenger is one really smooth but challenging roguelike that's definitely worth my time, and I'd advise any fan of the genre who's up for another challenge to give it a shot. AAA games are all well and good, but many times, if you'd like a truly unique experience, one off the beaten path, then the indie scene is where you want to be. Show your support for independent game developers. Most if not all indie games are priced relatively low. Some are even free with the option to donate, so there's really no reason to pass. Thank you for watching. If you like my content, feel free to like, share, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. If I pissed you off for some reason, then we all know where to find the various hate buttons, don't we? Either way, I won't hold it against you. Our game is never over.